Welcome to Sky Broking Weekly Market Commentary. Disclaimer: this weekly market commentary is for information purpose only. Before taking any decision, consult your financial advisor. Major data of this week has economic related data, and the major event is the US FOMC meeting on Wednesday. Now let's see the precious metals outlook. Gold and silver has news like the US Consumer Price Index grew by 4.2% in 12 months to April, for its largest increase in almost 13 years, and if Wall Street begins to believe the Fed that they will remain lower for longer with interest rates, the dollar should remain vulnerable, and that should be positive for gold prices. The biggest risk for gold remains when the Fed will have to talk about the tapering asset purchases. The eventual taper tantrum could happen by the end of summer. Fundamentally, this is a mixed news for precious metals, and technically speaking, last week we mentioned that if until gold breaks 48450 levels, it may expect a profit booking, and that had exactly happened. It fell more than 500 points compared to the previous week's close. And this week gold may expect a mixed trade with resistance of 47824 and support of 47104. And if it closes 47104 means huge drop will be expected. Silver also may expect a mixed trade with resistance of 72139 and support of 69511 levels. These are the major precious metals outlook. Now let's see the energy outlook. First is crude oil. It has a news like crude prices are seesawing as energy markets wait to see how bad of an impact will fresh lockdowns across Asia have on demand outlook. Fresh lockdowns across Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur and Singapore will make it difficult to be optimistic about the demand over the next month. The situation in India remains as a center stage, and in the US, the restart of the colonial pipeline should lead to a gradual improvement with fuel shortages across the East Coast. Fundamentally, this is a negative news for crude oil, and technically speaking, last week we mentioned crude oil may expect a profit booking until close above 4919 levels, and that had exactly happened. It fell more than 120 points compared to the previous week's close. And in this week, crude oil may expect a positive rally up to 4824, and from there profit booking is expected. Next is natural gas. It has a news like European gas hubs remain bullish on demand for storage injection, slowdown of LNG arrivals, colder outlook for the rest of May, and competing fuels. Fundamentally, this is a positive news for natural gas, and technically speaking, natural gas may expect a negative trade up to 208.3 levels, and from there some recovery may be expected. These are the major energy outlook. Now let's see the base metals outlook. First is copper. It has a news like higher than expected inflation readings from the United States triggered concerns of interest rate increases on Wednesday. This is fundamentally a negative news for copper, and technically speaking, copper may expect a high volatility trade with supports are 758.25 and 747.45, and if it crosses over 786, which means upswings is expected with resistance of 816.7 levels. Next is aluminum. It has a news like month of May is usually a high season for aluminum consumption. Large fluctuations in prices may curb demand. This is fundamentally a neutral news for aluminum, and technically speaking, aluminum may expect a high volatility trade with support of 192.65, and if it closes 192, then further support will be near 188.15 levels. Next is lead. It has a news like metals could finally show some signs of a slowdown in China, where loans fell more than expected. This is fundamentally a negative news for lead, and technically speaking, lead may expect a high volatility trade. Next is zinc. It has a news like US zinc premiums are at highest in a year. Europe premiums climb on firm demand. This is fundamentally a positive news for zinc, and technically speaking, zinc may expect a profit booking until close above 235.5 levels. And finally, it's nickel. It has a news like the rally came to a halt on Wednesday following the release of the US Consumer Price Index data for April, which showed a steep increase in US goods prices. This is fundamentally a negative news for nickel, and technically speaking, nickel may expect a high volatility trade. For more profits and information, visit our website www.skycommodities.com. Thank you by Skybroking.